study. We're gonna jump. We got something coming up. What's coming up next week? Thanksgiving, right? So here's my deal. This is my question. Thankfulness. Why? Why? What's the big deal? Now, I just read an article written by the Mayo Clinic. Anybody know what the Mayo Clinic is?
Yes.
Yeah. What is the Mayo Clinic?
It's like a school. Oh no.
Oh, I got my. Hey, anybody else have their cell phone? Turn the volume down if you do. I forgot to do this. Okay, good.
It's where like all like really good doctors go.
Yeah. It's like the Harvard of doctors. After Harvard, after they're actually doctors in done school. So I read this article, and basically what it said over and over and over again is, hey, thankfulness is healthy. Like, it's good for your body. Did you guys know that? Stress is the leading cause of disease in the world. I don't know if you guys know that. So people that are stressed out often have disease. That it causes heart problems. It causes mind problems. It causes cardiovascular problems. What's that? Ulcers. It does. So there's all kind of bad things that go with that. And so they're arguing that, hey, thankful people tend to be happier people, tend to be less stressful people. They also say that thankful people go to the doctor more. I'm pretty thankful, but I still don't like to go to the doctor. Yeah. They basically say you should lose a couple pounds and stop eating so much bacon.
I like the doctor.
So to me, the doctor's dumb if they're going to tell me not to eat bacon. I'm joking about them being dumb.
I like the doctor.
Yeah. You like the doctor?
I pretty much pay rent at the hospital.
Oh, yeah, this is true. This is true. So there's like all kind of health benefits, but that's not what I want to talk about. What I want to talk about was what the Bible says, and I only want to give you two things tonight. Two reasons to be thankful, okay? Two good, solid biblical reasons. Number one, I want to be thankful. I want to be thankful because it communicates humility. What do you mean, Pastor Jack? Well, first of all, you have to know this. The Bible says, I'm going to keep these on because I won't be able to read them. The Bible says that God opposes the proud, but He gives grace to the humble. So there's this relationship to humility and a relationship with the God that is really, really important. It's important to your spiritual growth. It's important to my spiritual growth. So I know that thankfulness and humility walk hand in hand. But I know what you're thinking. How, Pastor? How does humility and thankfulness walk hand in hand? Well, number one, because I recognize God's in control. Okay, and I love these verses. These are some of my favorite verses. Okay, so I'm going to get. I need. I think I've got 4 or 5 slides. So who's going to read first slide? Who's going to read the first slide? Who's willing to do that? Nice and loud. All right, Ryan, you got it. Ready? Read it. This is Psalm 139, one of my favorite songs. As a matter of fact, Ryan, come on up here. Check. Okay, come on right up here. And let me get like 3 people behind Ryan. Go ahead. 1 more, 2 more. Yeah, come on. One more. Adam, great. Okay, so go ahead. You can stand up or stand down, however you want to do that. Okay, so go ahead and read it.
Oh Lord, you have searched me and known me. You know when I sit down and when I rise up. You discern my thoughts from afar. You search my path and my left. You search out my path and my lying down and are acquainted with all my ways. Even before word is on my tongue, behold, O Lord, you know it altogether. You hem me in behind and before, and lay your hand upon me.
Okay, so here's what we get from that passage. You pass the mic on. Here's what we get from that passage. That God knows every single thing about you. He knows every single thing about me. You ever have that moment? Where you're trying to think of that word and it doesn't come to you? Or you're trying to think of that person's name and you know them and I know his name is Italian Giuseppe. Okay, right? God knows that word before you even thought that word. That blows me away. And I just want you to think of that in light of the entire world. All right? So I want you to think, okay, well, God knows me, blah, 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 blah. We think that way, but I want you to think about, God knows what you're thinking right now, and every person in this room, and every person in the gym, and in this church, in this town, in Gloucester County, in the state of New Jersey, in the United States, in North America, in the world. God knows all of that right now. That is unfathomable to me. I can't begin to understand. You ever have somebody try to talk to you, like 3 different people try to talk to you at the same time, and you're like, all right, hold on, you first, right? God hears all of that. He knows before, I know, right? Right? Just with our kids, it's hard, right? Okay, so let's go to the next one. Go ahead.
Where shall I go from your spirit? Or where shall I flee from your presence? If I descend to heaven, you are there. I make my bed in Sheol.
Sheol is a part of hell, by the way, so you know.
If I make my bed in Sheol, you are there. If I take the wings of the morning and dwell in the uttermost parts of the sea, even your hand shall lead me, and your right hand shall hold me. Okay.
Trying to get away from God is like playing hide and seek with a 2-year-old. You ever do that? They're like, let me hide, and they hide in one spot, and it's like not really hard to see because their legs are sticking out. And then they're like, okay, let's do it again. You hide, and where do they hide the next time? The same exact spot, right? Or they come, yeah, exactly. Like you're like 10, and they're like, I'm here, right? That's what it's like trying to hide from God. God knows everything. You want to go to heaven? You want to go to hell? You want to go to the east, to the west, to the north, to the south? You think God's going to be like, where did PJ go? It's almost like you can hear him saying it like he's a father looking for his little kid. I wonder where he might be. You know, when he was like looking in the garden for Adam and Eve, can you imagine what that was like? I wonder where Adam and Eve are. Right? That's what it's like. God knows. You know, there's no place that God is not present. Let's read on. Okay.
If I say, surely the darkness shall cover me, and the light about me be night, even the darkness is not dark to you. The night is bright as the day, for the darkness is as light with you.
Okay, I want you to understand this. When he's talking about light and dark, he's not talking about physical light and physical dark. What he's talking about is spiritual light and spiritual dark. You guys know that because David talks about walking through the valley of what? The shadow of death, right? So there's this like darkness, there's this like shadow that he refers to a lot in the Psalms. Here's what he's saying. When things are good, God is walking with you. When things are at the lowest point, God is walking with you. There's no good, there is no bad that God is afraid of. There's no good, there is no bad that God is not aware of. There's no good, there is no bad that God is not in control of. Read on, if you don't mind. Adam, you're going to be here for 2, I think. Sorry. Yeah.
For you formed my inward parts. You knitted me together in my mother's womb. I praise you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Wonderful are your works. My soul knows it very well. My frame was not hidden from you when I was being made in secret, intricately woven in the depths of the earth. Your eyes saw my unformed substance. In your book were written, every one of them, the days that were formed for me, when as yet there was none of them. How precious to me are your thoughts, O God! How vast the sum of them! If I would count them, they are more than the sand. I awake, and I am still with you.
Guys, you realize that? Before the earth was formed, before Adam and Eve, before he said, let there be light and let there be darkness, before the Spirit moved over the face of the waters, God knew your life. He knew everything about it. He knew the day you were going to be born. He knew the hair that you were going to have on your head. And for some of us, that changes regularly, right? Mine's going away. For some of you, you're growing more. You're like cats, right? You shed and then there's more somehow. God knew the day you were going to die before he created the world. He knew it all. He formed you the way you are when you were in your mom's womb. He knew if you were going to have heart problems. He knew if you were going to have learning difficulty. He knew if you were going to have a speech impediment. He knew if you were going to be club-footed. He knew everything. And he purposely formed you that way. Some of you are like, why? Why couldn't he have made me learn easier? Why couldn't he have built my grandma without her heart problems? Why did I have to, like, my sister was bow-legged, like so bow-legged she had to wear like braces on her legs for the first 2 years of her life. Why did he make her bow-legged? Because God had a plan from the very beginning of time for you. God knew what he wanted from you. He wanted you to communicate his glory through the way he made you from the very beginning of time. And when we are thankful, that communicates God's glory, which detracts from ours. Okay? So that's what it's like. So I recognize God's in control. Sometimes, get ready with my video. Sometimes we feel like our life is completely out of control. And we're scrambling. You guys might be like me. You're scrambling to get control back of your life. You're like, oh no, this is happening, and this is happening, and this is happening, and my life is going way too fast, and I'm out of control, and I'm scared to death. And you feel like this guy.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Nice and easy. Head on out, and whenever you're ready. Are you ready to go ahead and... Yeah.
That is a Camaro for you people that don't know Pastor.
A little more than I'm used to.
Turn it way up.
It's got some power, so just get a feel for it. Okay. Okay, alright. He's off just a little. He's up.
I was thinking more age on me, some wrinkles.
For those of you that don't know, that's Jeff Gordon. He's a NASCAR driver.
Somebody that I can pull off fun pranks with. Let's go have some fun. My good friends at Pepsi Max have hooked us up with this cool cam. So these are the glasses cam to show you everything that I see.
How you doing?
Hello. I'm Mike.
Hey, nice to meet you, Mike. I saw you sort of gravitated towards the Camaro. You thinking about getting one?
Oh, no. This is way too much car for me.
Well, it's a lot of power, but they designed it to be very safe.
I don't know if I can handle it. I've never driven anything like this before.
Well, I tell you what, I think a way to really make you feel comfortable would be to put you behind the wheel.
You're good.
What are you driving now?
Oh, just a minivan.
Oh, yeah. It's just a checkout sheet for a test drive. You're not obligated to anything. It's just so we know who's out. Let's go give it a drive.
I'm getting a little nervous.
No, I'll be right there beside you. There are your keys, sir.
I want to be that guy.
Oh,
Thank you.
there we go.
Oh, yeah. What a car. Oh, we better buckle up.
Yeah, good call. Power door locks. Standard, of course.
We had to put music over some of the things he said.
At least slow down.
Jeff Gordon.
Hey, listen.
Sorry, man. Sorry.
Do it again?
Yeah. What did he say at the end there? What did he say at the end? Can we do it again? Here's what I want you to get. When he did not know, and this is important, When he did not know who was in control, he was scared out of his mind. All that music, that did not come in the original. Don't YouTube this one, right? Okay? He said not nice things. All right? He was scared. He was scared out of his mind. Once he learned who was behind the wheel, what did he say? Let's do it again. That's what humility is, guys. It's knowing that even in the roughest times, even in the most difficult times, I recognize that my God is in control. So all the speed of life and the craziness of life and feeling out of control of life, like that passenger felt, we know that God is in control of that. We view it differently. We view it differently. So that's the first way we understand that thankfulness communicates humility. Number two, it helps me to recognize my dependence. Look what the Bible says here. It says, whoever trusts in his own mind is a fool, but he who walks in wisdom, wisdom being in this very explicitly God's way, he who walks in wisdom or God's way will be delivered. The fear of man lays a snare, but whoever trusts in the Lord is safe. He's saying, hey, be dependent on God. Thankfulness flows out of humility, which communicates a dependence on God. So, when Tori was little, no, not yesterday. When Tori was really little, when she was like 2 years old, like 1 year old. Actually, she was probably one because she started talking and hasn't talked. When she was really, really tiny, right? So we'd ask her to do stuff, or she'd be doing something, and we'd see her frustrated with it, and we'd say, hey, Tori, can we help with that? And she'd say, no, I do that. Hey, Tori, do you want help? Do you want help using your spoon? She's a little baby, right? And she's like, putting it all over her face. Tori, you want some help with your spoon? No, I do that. No, I do that. And she used to say, or Tori, do that. Turkey, do that, she'd say sometimes. Because I called her turkey bird. So she would constantly be saying, I do it, I do it, I do it. And it was like, it was funny for Cam and I to watch, because here she is, this like little pipsqueak, and I'm telling you, she was small. Like, she's never been big. There was never thought that we were like, oh, I wonder if she'll get to be 4'10", you know? Like she was just this tiny little kid, and she was like this like adult little child at the same time. Super independent. And we would laugh because we would watch her do something, and she would spend like an hour trying to do this something, and of course she'd screw it all up because she's just a little kid trying to do this really hard thing. And then eventually she'd get to the point where she got it done well enough for her. Climbing on a jungle gym or something. Hey, Tori, you want Daddy to help you? No, I do that. Everything was, I do that, I do that, I do that. But there was stuff when she was little that she just couldn't do. She just was incapable of it. And it was really hard for Victoria. She was an independent spirit. We kind of raised her to be that. That was our hope and our goal. She had this independent spirit where she was like, no, I want to do that. I want to accomplish it myself. And guys, we've got to guard ourselves from having that same independent spirit with God. We've got to guard ourselves from trusting in ourselves instead of trusting God. So here's what I want you to think about. I want you to think about what you're best at. Quietly in your head. Think about what you're best at, all right? Everybody got it? I want you to get it down to 1 or 2 words. Okay? 1 or 2 words. What are you best at? Here's what I want you to do. On the count of 3, you're all going to say what you're best at. All right? Do what you're best at. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Eating? Seriously? So that thing that you just said, I want you to guard your heart in that area. Because that is the area where you will get independent from God and stop being thankful to God and begin to take glory for yourself rather than giving it to God. So why be thankful? Number 1, because it communicates humility. Number 2, Because it communicates surrender. Because it communicates surrender. All right? How does it communicate surrender? Well, I threw away the wrong copy of this. Okay, let me think for a second. I had 2 copies. I threw away the wrong one. We're just gonna go. Does it communicate surrender? How does it communicate surrender? How does thankfulness communicate surrender? Because it communicates my trust in God. We've already talked about that a little bit, but Psalms, David talks about that as well. He says, "For the righteous will never be moved. He will be remembered forever. He is not afraid of bad news. His heart is firm, trusting the Lord." It communicates surrender because I trust in God. So I'll just go another place. How many of you guys have been climbing with me somewhere, whether in a gym or whether on a rock somewhere? Anybody? Only a couple of you guys. Okay, so if you guys have, here's what I figured out about myself. Now, if you ever go climbing with me, my rope is strong enough, and my carabiners are strong enough that if I drove my Jeep tied to my rope off of the side of the cliff, the rope and the carabiners would hold. They're rated in kilonewtons. 1 kilonewton is 100 pounds falling 100 feet. 1 kilonewton is 100 pounds falling 100 feet. Most of my equipment is rated at 27 kilonewtons. That means it can hold 2,700 pounds falling 100 feet. That's incredibly strong. It's incredibly strong. But here's what happens all the time when I take people climbing. They climb and they get up to a point that they're comfortable, right? They get up about 10 feet off the ground. And then they look down and they're like, "You got me?" "Yeah, we got you. And they climb up a little further and they start panicking because they don't want to let go of the wall. They're on the side of a mountain. They're 25, 30, 35 feet up. They don't want to let go of the mountain because they feel secure on the side of the mountain. Like they're holding on and they feel like their hands are secure. And they don't want to fall off. Why don't they want to fall off? What's that? They don't have faith. They don't trust my equipment. Now, what do you think is stronger? Let me pick on somebody. Mary. Let's say Mary and I, she's never climbed with me. Let's say Mary and I are climbing and she's 75 feet up in the air. What do you think is stronger? Mary's hands or my rope? What do you think is stronger? My rope. Mary, would you let go of that mountain?
I don't know.
Right? So even somebody that has like this, she's like, "Well, I know I probably should say, yeah, I'd let go, but I'm pretty sure I would." When you're 75 feet in the air, right? And you look down and all you have is this rope about that big around holding you up, all of a sudden that rope looks super, super, super small. And you start thinking, is this going to hold? Did Pastor Jack do everything right? Like you are scared to death. And a lot of times, guys, one of the reasons that we don't act thankfully is because we really don't trust God. We haven't surrendered our life to Him. Let me give you an example of what this looks like for you. Some of you may be called to the ministry. Some of you may be called to give your life to God and to go somewhere you don't think you want to go right now. Some of you may be called to Africa or Asia or Eastern or Western Europe. Some of you South America, Central America. And you're thinking right now, no way, not me. There's no way I even want to leave New Jersey. There's no way I'm going to leave my family. Can I challenge you? You're not thinking about God. You're thinking about you. You're holding on to the mountain of life with your hands. And God has you strapped in, totally safe, totally the way He wants your life to go. And you're saying, no, I'm not willing or ready to go that direction. What are you willing, what are you unwilling to do for God's glory? Would you be thankful if God said, I want you out of where you're comfortable and into where you're uncomfortable? That would give me more glory. Last thing. It communicates my surrender because I trust God and because I can be thankful in anything. Listen to what Job's wife says. You guys remember the story of Job, right? We went through it in the youth group. He lost everything. Sons, daughters, servants, money, everything you can think of. Then his wife said to him, do you still hold fast to your integrity? Curse God and die. But he said to her, you speak as one of the foolish women would speak. Shall we receive good from God and shall we not receive evil? In all this, Job did not sin with his lips. We can be thankful in anything, and that communicates our surrender to God.